Hi everybody, it's Nagina. Before I go any further, I just want to say that this is my first video that I'm posting on Facebook and YouTube, so I just want to apologize in advance if it's not polished or the lighting is not right or that I ramble a little bit. I haven't really written very much down. I'm just gonna talk and see how it goes. Some of you know that I recently went on a 10-day silent meditation retreat in the Lake District in England, which is really beautiful, and it's called Vipassana meditation. If you don't know about it, Vipassana meditation is the technique and the meditation that was handed down by the Buddha, and which is what helped him to reach enlightenment. It's very scientific. I was very surprised. I thought I was going to be experiencing something very spiritual, something very mystical, but actually it was a very objective and realistic and scientific, so even better because the logical mind can process it and understand it. Very, very simple technique and quite tough to do, takes a lot of practice. The idea is that through observing the mind and concentrating the mind, we can eliminate suffering, and all beings on this planet can be happy. The reason why we suffer is because of three things: cravings, which means that we crave things we don't have in our lives; aversions, which means that we have things in our life that we don't want; and the third one is ignorance, so not even knowing your mind, or not knowing your reality or who you truly are. So it's based on truth, the real and the purest truth, rather than the illusions that we create. And a really great example that the course leader gave was, imagine you're wearing pink shades and somebody else is wearing green shades. You're going to argue with each other about who is right. You think the world is pink and they think the world is green. But in reality, if you take your shades off, the world is multicolored. And in the same way, we tend to have a lot of conflict based on half-truths, because we're processing information based on reacting to stuff outside of ourselves rather than focusing on the truth within ourselves. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but if you do have any questions, please just ask me. Either write to me or contact me in some way, Facebook or on YouTube. So I've been in self-development for a number of years now, and my passion is to help people to get happy. And when I went on this course, I was told that the purpose of Vipassana meditation is to eliminate suffering, which for me is the other side of the same coin. So I'm doing the same thing. So for me, it resonated with me very much. I was a little bit nervous because when I read about it, it's very strict. There's lots of rules. Men and women are kept completely separate. You're not allowed to speak to each other for 10 days. You're not allowed to make eye contact or acknowledge anybody. No sign language, writing things down, no taking notes. So basically it's just you and your mind. And that within itself was very powerful and a very unique experience, because I've never ever done that before in my life, gone without speaking for 10 days. So I thought I would probably struggle with that aspect. And then the schedule was pretty strict. 4 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. Again, I thought I'd probably struggle to wake up, but that never was a problem for me for the whole time that I was there. We meditated, I think, on average around about 10 and a half, 11 hours a day. So the hardest part for me for the whole of the course was the sitting. Sitting still for 2 hours was tough. But the whole point is that when your mind is concentrated and you're centered, the physical aspect doesn't bother you anymore. So if you're fidgeting or scratching or itching, it's another way of your mind distracting you from what you're really trying to do. And actually, the funny thing was that even on the very first day, I've been meditating for a long time, but never like this. And no matter how old I get, I have new learnings every single day. And I had such an eye-opening learning on the first day when I think I'd been meditating for about 6 hours, and I suddenly started to really, really see how insane my mind is. And it's not just me, everybody's mind is the same, that it will do everything that it can to distract you. And I was thinking the craziest thoughts, things that I've never been aware of before. And I was also thinking about thoughts that I hadn't thought about since I was a child. And they were all just so disjointed. You know, I'd be thinking about one thing and then thinking about another thing, and just random, going off on a tangent. So on the first 3 days, we were told to simply observe our breath. Basically, focus on the sensation as you breathe in and breathe out. And it's not like other meditations where you have to slow down your breathing or change your breathing in any way. It was just focusing on your natural breath. So it was the simplest way that you could do something. All they wanted us to do to sit there and just observe the sensation of breathing in and breathing out. And I have to tell you that it was so hard, because I'd take about 1 or 2 breaths and then I was off daydreaming on a tangent, and then I suddenly find myself thinking, oh my God, I've just been off on a tangent, so focus on your breath again. And one of the things they did mention is that it's going to get frustrating, that you're going to keep going off daydreaming and worrying about things in your past and future, but don't be mad, don't be upset about it. I'm just going to move this because it looks a little bit wonky. So the whole point is to stay calm and to just acknowledge and not be reactive in any of it. So the theory is that when we have traumatic experiences in our lives, so if something happens on the outside, we tend to react to it rather than focus on what's going on inside our body. So every incident that occurs in our outside life will have a sensation in the body and will affect our breathing. So those are the 2 things that we can really look into and change, whereas you can't always control what happens outside of you, how other people treat you or behave with you. So a really great example that we were given was, imagine somebody's rude to you, or something bad happens and you get angry. So if you got angry and I said to you, you need to control your anger, you're going to find that quite hard to do, because you can't see anger. It's just it's an emotion. It's not something that's tangible. But what you can observe and what you can control is the fact that when you get angry, you're going to have a sensation in your body and your breathing is going to change. So the way you can control your anger is to focus on your breathing and focus on the sensation that it occurs. It might be heat. It might be butterflies in your stomach. It might be whatever number of things that everybody reacts differently. So that is what you need to focus on and change. So the idea is to, for example, if it was anger, if I was angry, to not react to that feeling that as if it's bad, just to observe it. And if you just observe it rationally, it will go away and it will no longer bother you. And the anger will be diffused and nobody is upset. Whereas the normal way to react would be to be angry at the person, at the person you think is to blame for your being angry in the first place. So when I looked into it, you know, I did struggle during the course. Day 5, I think I was ready to go home, but I pushed through it. And by the time I got to day 8 and 9, I was flying high. I was as high as a kite. And throughout the course, I kept getting people in my mind that I want to tell about this course. I kept thinking, so-and-so should try this, so-and-so should try this. And in the end, my conclusion is that everybody should do it. Every single person on this planet should be practicing Vipassana meditation. Because if you can get your mind to quieten down, and if you can focus your attention and focus your mind and really understand yourself, because, you know, all scriptures tell you to know thyself. If you can know who you truly are, you can then, from that point, start to understand that the mind is something that needs to be controlled and not the other way around. If it controls you, then you're always going to be unhappy and you're always going to suffer. So I believe that meditation, even any kind of meditation, but specifically Vipassana meditation, it should be taught in schools, it should be taught to children. Because if we were to raise children that are at peace with themselves and are not suffering one thing or another and understand how to control their reality, we would be living in a very different world. I'm sure I've missed out a lot of stuff. What else was I going to say about Vipassana? I guess the highest goal is liberation and enlightenment, which basically means that you no longer suffer. And there is so much suffering in this world, and the only person that makes us suffer is ourselves, literally. And I'm sure you've heard that many times in many scriptures and self-help books, but it really is the truth that you are totally in control of how you react, but we are never taught how to control our reactions, so we keep reacting. Whereas here is a tool that will train you, if you put the time into it, to actually be able to control past traumas, get rid of all those knots that you've accumulated in your body, and then not let future events add to that. And that's where your freedom is, and that's where your light is. So for me, it was wow. I've now been told that I need to meditate 2 hours a day. So I was I was thinking that that's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to give it a good shot. So my New Year's resolution for this coming year is to meditate, Vipassana meditation style, every day, 2 hours, and until it becomes a habit and I'm no longer struggling for it. And I'll definitely keep you posted. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll make a video a month to let you know how I'm getting on, and you can learn from me as to whether this really does work or not. But I genuinely think it's all about putting in the effort, and it's a worthy cause. It's your own salvation, it's your own happiness, and we're all looking for peace, we're all looking for happiness, and I was looking for it, and that's why I came into this profession. And I have helped so many people, and they've in return helped me as well. So yeah, please ask me any questions that you have, and I'll post a link for the organization. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to mention, the organization. I love the whole ethos behind it. The guy who brought Vipassana into the West, Goenka, he actually passed away last year at the age of 80. Wonderful man. When you watch his videos, he's just got so much humor and wisdom in his stories. He tells all these little metaphors, and he's just wonderful. And you can see him like a happy Buddha. He's just beaming, you know, he's walking the talk, so to speak. But he decided that he wanted to give. So one of the things that he was saying is that we are here to love, to bring love into the world, compassion and service. So service to others. So yes, look after your own, make sure that you're earning enough money to pay your bills and look after your loved ones. But over and above that, the money that you earn should be to serve other people. And one of the ways to serve others is through Vipassana meditation. And so the centers that he set up around the world, it's amazing. They're completely free. You don't pay any money for the 10 days, and you get really good food. You get a place to sleep. You get looked after. If there's any issues, there's people there to help you. The way they survive is once you've completed your course, and if you want to make a donation, you can donate whatever you can afford. If you can't afford money, you can always donate your services, which they actually encourage even more, because it's all about dissolving ego. So if you go in without paying, it's almost like living like a monk or a nun. So you're living on somebody else's charity, and that dissolves ego. And then when you're serving other people, when you're providing service, again, that's dissolving your ego and making you more compassionate, and actually hitting the spot for the fact that we are naturally drawn to helping other people. So the philosophy behind it was just magnificent for me. You know, there's so many self-help people out there that charge you thousands and thousands of pounds or dollars for what they offer as spiritual growth. So this is just spot on, and I think it spread very, very quickly because of the teachings and because of the way that it's run. So have a look, see what you think. I'm definitely going to be going back to serve and also to be a student again, because there's so much more that I need to learn. I think I've said enough, and I will see you very soon. Much love and light to you.